Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Monday morning meditation. Hello. Thank you for being here today and adding your energy and um, your interest in meditation and your hearts today. It's wonderful. Even though there's a small group of us here today, there's a large group who touch in with us later. So that energy actually is very much recorded and available anytime. So thank you. It's important to me that you're here because then I get to meditate with somebody. So we are moving forward with the meditation booklet. I'm not going to read it today because it's not really conducive to our time together, this next question, but I will talk about it because it's still a good concept. I'm just not going to read the question and answer for us today, but you can find it again online if you'd like to. It's still very good. And the question is, I will read the question, what is the first stage of meditation? Because this first stage is where a lot of people quit their meditation practice, right? Because the first stage of meditation is being aware of how busy the mind is. And once some people realize how busy their minds are, they say, "Oh, I don't want to. I mustn't be doing this wrong because my mind is so busy. I can't get it right because there's a misconception, really, that meditation is about having a quiet mind all the time, and if you can't do it, you're missing the purpose of meditation." And that is so not true because the purpose of meditation is to be aware of how busy the mind is. And in this particular response, in the booklet, Jane talks about how as we watch the thoughts that go through our mind, we see how really boring we are because the same thoughts go over and over and over through our minds. We may have a different topic that we're thinking about or worrying about, but the thought process is the same. What am I going to do about this? What am I going to do about that? Instead of getting still and listening for a solution through our intuition or, if nothing else, through our higher intellect. That is, when we are in a calm state, we have more brain capability, and we can fully extrapolate that to include our intuition as well. But I like to throw out a little bit of earthiness in what we're doing and a little bit of woo-woo meditation, energy, esoteric stuff for whoever is wherever you resonate. So as we watch the mind and see how busy it is, we just notice it. That's the first step in meditation, is just noticing it. And it's not just the first step in meditation for so we watch our minds and then we move on to the next stage of meditation and we don't have to go back to the first one. No, it comes and goes, right? So some days our minds are going to be very busy and we will just have to sit and watch that. And watching the mind be busy is part of just helping it to calm down because we're not jumping into those stories. If we can watch the thoughts go by without jumping into a conversation with them, just let them go, oh yeah, there goes that thought, like clouds floating by, then that presence with the thoughts help the mind-body system calm down because it's not racing around chasing all of those different thoughts. And eventually the thoughts kind of wear themselves out, right? And we can get into a deeper state. But that first stage of meditation may happen every time we sit down to meditate, and think about the times that you have sat down to meditate. I usually tell people, with meditation, and actually it's one of the questions coming up in the booklet of, how do I start meditating? And I learned this from Jane, and this is why I share it with other people, because I know that it is true and that it works, that if somebody has never meditated and they start with 5 minutes a day, that 5 minutes is going to make a huge difference to their day. Now, maybe for some of us who've been meditating longer, for me, 5 minutes, I can barely get my mind focusing on or watching the thoughts in 5 minutes some days. So I definitely need more than 5 minutes to get into my meditation time. But, um, watching our thoughts is just going to be part of our process of being with ourselves and learning how to not get attached to the thoughts that are going by. And that's a wonderful practice, not just during our meditation time, but throughout the day when we feel worried about something. It's like, okay, well, let me pull myself back, notice what I'm worrying about. Is that really necessary for me to be putting energy into that worry? Okay, probably not. But if I don't have practice stopping myself and being able to reflect on my thoughts, that's what makes us human, right? Is that we can think about our thoughts. Um, then we are able to step back and say, okay, there's probably something different I can do about this now. So that first stage of meditation of watching our thoughts is an ongoing process of um, just being with ourselves. And that's what meditation is about, if nothing else. It's about learning how to be with ourselves and be at peace with ourselves. So, with that, let's check in with our thoughts. I invite you to get comfortable where you are, if you're not already, and just take a couple of deep breaths to switch gears from thinking to watching those thoughts. I invite you to find your center in your body, around your body, a place that anchors you. For me, it's my heart. And there may be a couple of different places that you find, when I think of feeling anchored and I check in with my body, my physical body, I probably feel more anchored in my bottom, in my chair, my legs, my upper legs resting on the cushion. But I feel more centered when my attention is in my heart. I feel lighter and clearer. So you might play with that a little bit too and see where you feel your breath the clearest. Finding an anchor in the body, that solid place, is really good. Excuse me. Is really good if we feel jittery or anxious about something. That physical groundedness can really help calm the nervous system. And that's a good tool to have. But maybe your center feels like it's in a different place. Maybe it's in your forehead. Maybe it's in your heart. When you find that center, just let your breath move in and through, moving in as you inhale right through that center, feeling that breath coming right through that center, and exhaling all the way through. And notice those thoughts. And notice how noticing the thoughts might pull you away from your center. That's really important to be aware. Be aware that the mind, the constant thoughts pull us away from our center. We're not stuck with that. We're in charge. Through the movement of our attention, we're in charge. So we notice those thoughts and bring our attention back to our center, back to the breath moving in and through. And if your mind feels busy this morning, just let it be busy. Let your attention be in your center. Gently, don't allow yourself to follow the thoughts. Just let them be. And as you rest your attention in your center, feeling your breath moving in and through, you may notice all the ways your mind tries to get your attention. Just notice that. Let your attention return to your center. And perhaps it's your body that is drawing your attention. With itches or twitches or pain. Just notice that. And bring your attention back to your center. In our meditative center, we don't try to stop things from happening. Thoughts or itches or pain. We just notice it. The minute we try to stop it, we're entangled with it. And that's not what this time is for. There's plenty of time to work with those things later. But right now, we're just letting them be. And bringing ourselves back to that centered space within. Feel your breath coming in and out, in and through your center. If all we do during our meditation time throughout the week is bring our attention back to our center, then we are successful. It's not about making the thoughts stop, they won't. It's just about strengthening our ability to be in charge of where our attention is. This center is very intuitive, but to the mind it is counterintuitive because the mind wants us to act, to think, figure things out, worry. That's why it can feel like a battle sometimes. But it's okay, that's what minds are for. There's plenty to do throughout the week that the mind can do its thing. This is why having a meditation practice that is regular is so important, because that center of us, that consciousness of us, our awareness needs to have time to be open and in charge. And in charge, not the way the mind wants to be in charge, but in charge in the way of being, simply being. And in simply being, we are open, receptive, and still enough for answers to come. And most all the time, those answers are way better than what our minds could come up with. It's like we're strengthening a new mind, the mind of the center, which is different than the mind of the brain, nervous system. But we have to give it our time and our attention, our practice for that mind of the center to be awakened and strengthened. So we take this practice into our week ahead, knowing that center is always there. It belongs to us, it's there for us, and we can tap into it anytime. And I do invite you to practice with us if you're not already doing that this week. Just bringing your attention back to your center, watching the mind, seeing how it goes, not jumping into a conversation with it, but just noticing, bringing your attention back to your center. Thank you for being here today. I invite you to continue with your meditation time if you have time to do that. I will end our time today, and I will look forward to seeing you next week. Have a wonderful, wonderful week. Thank you for being here.